But you don't look sick. But you don't look sick. Girl, you don't look sick. Do you ever find yourself in these types of situations? If the answer is yes, stay tuned. Hey, welcome to the No Shoes Podcast, and today we're going to talk about a topic that is too familiar to a lot of us in the MS community. Being in the MS community, you probably heard some things that stop and make you think, did she just really say that? I live in Georgia, and in the summertime, it gets hot. So this is when I utilize my handicap placard a lot. And here's an education moment for you all. Some of us MS warriors, some of us can't tolerate the heat, some of us can't tolerate the cold, and some of us cannot tolerate either. I can't tolerate the heat. So in the summertime, I have my doctor, my neurologist fill out the hand. I got the application. He filled it out. I got my placard. I renewed it once, so that's how long I've had it. So in the summertime, I noticed, like, before I got the placard, like, I would have an episode before I got to the main door of the store. So I said, let me get a handicap sticker. So this one particular day, and I mentioned this when I did my live stream the other day. This one particular day, when I first got diagnosed, the MS Foundation sent a welcome packet, and in that welcome packet was a sticker that said not all disabilities are visible. So I put that sticker in the back window of my car. So this particular day, went to Publix, was going to be in and out. And, with certain shopping centers, you can only go up one way and go down one way. So I guess this lady, I was going up the right way. She was coming down the wrong because she saw the same handicap I saw, but I got to it before she did. So she had to go down a little further. She had to been not that much older than me. She was still a Gen Xer, I know that. But I sat in the car for a little bit because I was talking to my mom. So by the time I got ready to get out of my vehicle, she's coming up on my car. So I get out and I turn around and close the door and lock my car. And she's looking like, you don't seem like anything's wrong with you. Why are you parking a handicap? What I wanted to say, I didn't. Because for me in that moment, that was a teachable moment for her. So I just pointed to the sticker in the back of my car and I kept it moving because I don't have to explain anything to anybody, especially if you're not my family or friends. And even with them, I don't have to explain anything that I don't want to. The thing with having a chronic illness is we have our good days, we have our bad days. There are going to be times where you may see us and you're like, oh, you look fine, but you don't know what's brewing inside. And everybody's symptoms are different. But the one thing that we all have in common is we suffer from fatigue. And that in itself, that's a different beast. And we'll be talking about that in another episode. I'll be touching on that. But it's a different kind of beast. Even with me having the surgeries I've had, that fatigue is something else. But, just because someone doesn't look sick on the outside doesn't mean they're not sick. And we as MS warriors, and I call us MS warriors, we refer to each other as MS warriors because we are fighting this. We're not laying down and letting it consume us. We refuse. And a lot of us it's just like, nah, not here. So there used to be a time where I would respond in a way that I could have just turned it into a teachable moment. Now I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. But sometimes people need to stop and think, how is what I'm saying affecting this person? Because we deal with enough on a day-to-day basis. We don't need the extra thing. The best thing that you can do as someone who isn't living with this chronic illness that we wake up with every morning is to go online, do some research on multiple sclerosis. Go to the library. If you're one of those people that you rather do it the old school way, go to the library. There's plenty of books in the library. Libraries still exist. Go there and get you some MS material there. You can go refer to the National MS Society, the MS Foundation, Can Do. They all have resources. We even have resources from our sorority on our page that you can go to. And I think that's the best thing that you can do to help somebody who's dealing with MS. These things are the last thing that we want to hear. So I'm asking y'all nicely, please stop it. Please. Stop telling us what we don't look like, because we feel, some of us just feel. And yesterday, I did the video yesterday on what MS looks like. That is what it looks like for me. Do I have my days? Most definitely. But I try to let the positive days outweigh the negative. I had my moment, I cried about it. It's time to move on. So, I want to touch on certain things. So I've heard people say that you're too young to have MS. MS is like any other chronic illness. It doesn't have an age. You can be young, have diabetes. You can be young and have heart problems. You can be young and have cancer. You can have things wrong with you at a young age. I know some people who were diagnosed with, well, they weren't formally diagnosed. They had the symptoms when they were young, but they kept getting misdiagnosed. So you can have any kind of chronic illness when you're young. It doesn't have an age. The healthy thing, have you tried exercising? Yeah, I have. I had before I had my weight loss surgery. And the thing that I was struggling with, in 2015, I joined this program, did exceptionally well on it. I had lost 68 pounds, did well. I was going to the gym 2, maybe 3 times a day. I was eating well. But once I got MS, couldn't do that anymore. I had to slow down. I had to, I could only maybe at that time do 30 minutes. Maybe. So, I did do the exercises, but it's not a cure for MS. Yeah, it's going to help, but it's not a cure. It's not going to cure my MS. It'll help me health-wise. It'll help us health-wise, but it's not going to take it away. Now, our neurologists, if you have a good one, they do tell you need to move because your muscles will stiffen, and it's like learning how to walk, learning how to use those muscles again. So you don't want to just sit. It will help in that aspect. But as far as curing it, no, because there's no cure for MS. And then another teachable moment, the medications that we take are just to slow the progression. They're not curing it. At least it's not cancer. I myself have not experienced that statement, but I have heard some people say that they have. Here's the thing with that. Us living with MS, it's its own set of challenges. But, in this chronic illness community, there's really no, it's not a competition. So it's not like, and we don't dismiss what someone else may be going through. But MS can get bad. I've seen it get bad for some people. It can get bad. So, trying to compare it to another chronic illness, it's kind of not a good thing to do. You have the people that say you just need to stay positive. And even when I hear that, I know it's coming from a good place. I really do. However, we do the best we can to stay positive, you know, and some days we don't know how we're going to wake up. We might wake up, in a flare. Who knows? I've tripped down my stairs several times since being diagnosed, and my stairs goes down and then to the right. So me falling down those stairs, if I wouldn't have had a quick reaction and grabbed my railing when I did, I probably would have broke my neck. So, we do the best we can to stay positive. We do the best we can to keep each other encouraged, inspired, and motivated. It's hard some days. We're human. We're still human. And I think that's something too that some people don't forget. They forget. And don't get upset with us, like, especially when we can't go out and do things. It's just, we might not be able to. We'll go when we can. But don't be upset, like, if we make a commitment to go out and then at the last minute we can't go because we're having something came up with our MS. It happens to me all the time. So, I think the worst thing for somebody who has a friend or a family member or a coworker who has MS, the worst thing you can do is brush off the fact that they have it. Or try to make it seem like, oh, well, you're lying, you don't have that, just because they look well. Because you don't know. You honestly don't. These are things that we really need you all to stop doing. What I would like, I'm gonna close with that because it's one of those topics that can get a little emotional. I think we've all in the MS community have dealt with those things. If you're living with MS, drop an orange heart in the comments and tell me something that someone said to you that made you pause. The president for my organization, she likes to say pause. But if you're comfortable with sharing anything I ask y'all to put in the comments, if you're not comfortable talking about it or sharing, please don't. I want y'all to be comfortable. Like I said, this is a safe space, so I want y'all to feel comfortable sharing. But I'm gonna close with that, and I always want y'all to remember, to my MS warriors, we have MS. It does not have us. And we will continue to fight and lift each other up and do the things that we need to do to survive in these MS streets, because that's what we do. And ain't nothing or nobody going to stop us from doing that. And if you have a bad day, it's okay. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, you're not supposed to have a bad day. It's okay. I promise you it's okay. All right? So again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the No Shoes Podcast. Thank you for all your love and support. Make sure you click the like button, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't. And again, if you follow me on Facebook, on my page on Facebook, I have a feedback form that's pinned to the top. Fill it out and let me know what topics you want to hear on the show. And I will try my best to touch on those topics. Okay? All right. So, y'all have a great weekend. Y'all be safe out there. I know the weather's starting to change, and don't forget to set your clocks. I think we're springing forward. So be sure to do that so you don't be late for work on Monday. Okay? Because I have money to give y'all. It's in the form of Monopoly money because I have 8 Monopoly game boards. So I can give y'all, I can help y'all out that way. Okay? I promise. All right. So remember, here at the No Shoes Podcast, nothing is dressed up. It's all real talk. All right? Y'all have a good one, and I will see y'all in the next video.